Oh boy, tonight. So I was preparing to go to bed, and I just feel this message is too strong and too powerful to sleep on. Because right now we have an opportunity. It's an opportunity for us to step up, to step into our personal power. I'm going to ask a huge favor of everyone. I need you to share this message, this video, far and wide, and especially after it's complete and I save it. Here's the thing. Humanity's been under a spell for far too long. Right now, we are at a huge turning point, a split in the road. And we can choose to play into the fear, or we can choose to see the opportunity for growth and to step into our personal power. Courage is stepping into the unknown despite the fear. It's facing it no matter what comes at you. And the reason I say this is because the unknown is the one thing that people fear the most because it's not familiar. People will gravitate. They will go back to addictions, to toxic situations, just because they are familiar. We are in the most unhealthy, toxic, codependent, narcissistic, sociopathic, psychopathic relationship we've ever been in. We are the most enslaved that anyone in humanity has ever been, yet it appears we're not because we think we have our free will and our free choice. We do. But when you go to make a choice, when you go to make the next step, when you go to take action, what are the kinds of thoughts that pop into your head? You go through a list. Every one of us does it on a conscious and unconscious level. Is it going to be something I have to worry about paying a fee for? Am I going to get in trouble for speeding in my car? I got to put my seatbelt on. These are the motions, the habitual routines we have gotten ourselves so numbed out to, we never question them. I made a video last year asking how many people actually see the legality and the relevance in drug testing for jobs. Think about that. You have to voluntarily give of your own fluids, your own body, to be able to prove you can work and have your own body held against you. Oh, but, if someone's doing drugs, you know what? No, those are not legal reasons for taking your urine or your blood to prove you worthy of work. None of that is legal, nor is it healthy. Even driving a car down the road to travel somewhere. Well, I speed all the time, so, I got a ticket and I'll just pay it because I probably deserve it. See how people rationalize their own enslavement, their own addiction to the system? We're in this situation right now out of complicitness and complacency. When you're complacent, you're implicit. You're complicit with your own enslavement. And ignorance is not bliss because the devil preys upon ignorance. It's his favorite sin of all of them. Because you may turn a blind eye, but you're voluntarily doing it. People don't make mistakes. They just make choices. It's a fact of life. You're not being deceived. You're just being influenced. And the truth is, you can't get deceived by anybody else unless you're already deceiving yourself. That's a true fact of life. The only way you're ever going to be deceived by somebody is if you yourself are the one deceiving yourself to begin with. And that's the energy you carry. That is why victims attract the perpetrators. That is why if you're looking to defend yourself, you will find yourself being attacked. How do I know? I've had to work through my own shit. I've had to own my own mind. I've had to recognize my shadow. I've had to sit in the recesses of, that's me too. When I was, for a very good portion of my life, growing up, going through the motions of working for the government in the military, I found myself at a certain point where I was just trying to get by. I was just, hopefully no eyes on me. I just want to get in, get out, do my work, go home and enjoy my life. And it was a toxic, hostile working environment. But I was looking to just kind of stay under the radar, which drew the attention, which drew the attack. I was looking to defend myself, and I was finding people attacking me, looking for things that were wrong, that they could use against me, because that's what those types of environments are all about. That when someone speaks up, they attack your character. When you start speaking truth, what's the first thing they do? They gaslight. They try to discredit you. They attack you. Something stupid as, you didn't pay your taxes. That doesn't make you a bad person. If anything, that just shows you how indoctrinated other people are to go along and go, yeah, they're a bad person, they didn't pay their taxes. They're a bad person because of choices in their lives. But nobody ever stops to think about, nobody wants to be held for their past discrepancies, their past choices. Everybody deserves a second chance. Everybody should have the opportunity to self-course correct, make amends, to do better. Because we have to make mistakes to know better, don't we? When we make mistakes, that allows opportunity for growth, for course correction, self-correction, the opportunity to do better. Because when you make a mistake and you recognize it, you own it, you reflect upon it, now you can do better. But the way the climate and the current culture is these days is you are literally nailed to a cross if you step out of line. And they do it to keep you submissive. Because they set an example of one person, that could be you next. So if they set the example and they totally destroy a person's livelihood, you won't step out of line. That's psychological warfare. That's spiritual warfare. And this game, this battle, is all a battle of the mind. And the truth is do you even know your own mind? Do you even know yourself? Because if you don't know yourself, that makes you that much more easy to manipulate, to control. Because if I can trigger you, I can get you emotional, I can get you to react instead of respond, I can catch you off guard, I can wield you just like an instrument. I can play and prey upon your emotions because they're like waves of the ocean. And if you don't have control over them, you give them over for someone else to have control over you with them. See, if you don't own your emotions, you don't own yourself, they will be owned for you. That's why meditation is so powerful. That is why we sit and listen and observe and confront the monkey mind. Because when people say, oh, my mind's really crazy, it goes all over the place, that's just you seeing it while you're sitting still. Because when you are active in your life, you're not even present to all those thoughts. They're always there. It's just that when you sit down to meditate, it's clearer. And most people don't want to hear their own thoughts because most of our thoughts are self-deprecating. They're critical. They're constantly comparing, finding what's wrong with ourselves as opposed to finding what's right. See, this is the thing about the media and when you turn on the television or even social media. What you don't realize is we're addicted to the doom and the gloom. You're expecting the worst because that's all they've presented you with. If they've only presented you with the doom and the gloom and the stuff to make you feel, life, it's so stressful. Oh, life, It's so challenging. This is so hard. And you use those words to continue to cast the spells because they taught us these words. They taught us how to maintain and keep us under their spell. In order to break the spell, to win at this game, you have to know the rules. And it starts with yourself. It starts with going within. It starts with recognizing, I am the owner of my thoughts, even if they're coming in from the outside, even if you've been influenced in the way that you think. The more conscious and aware of your thoughts you are, the more you have the opportunity to change them. And so when you find yourself choosing to feel a certain way, because you are choosing it, even if it's conscious or unconscious, it doesn't matter. You're still choosing it. And the moment you acknowledge that, you look in the mirror and you go, you know what? I'm choosing this. And I can choose to change it too. That's your superpower. Choice is your superpower. Remaining neutral is even more powerful. To not choose at all. And that one's a little deeper. And this is where I want to go with this tonight. So what I have been sitting with for a while now, but especially it poured out of me today. Because we've had this cast, the spell, the words, mesmerized by all the gadgetry, all the technology. We're so connected, we're disconnected. That we think that we see a meme, an image, an article, a video. Oh my gosh, look at what's happening. But you keep forgetting. The news has always been there to entertain you, to entertain you, to take you in, to keep you under the trance. And when it hones in on you and you hone in on it, they got you. They played you, and you're playing into it. Because if they can get you through your emotions, the casting of the spell is that much easier. It's easier to maintain control over someone who is in their emotions, because when you are emotional, you are irrational. You will not make a clear decision, a rational decision. How many times have you gotten emotional, got upset, flipped out, freaked out, and did something stupid and thought, oh my gosh, I wish I hadn't have done that? And how many times have you thought, I need to take a deep breath, calm myself and claim myself? That's what being slow, being present and mindful is all about. It's recognizing, ooh, I'm feeling something in my body. It's something stirring up. What is that about? Can I lean into that instead of react to it or freak out from it? Because again, if your emotions are running the show, you got no control over your life. And that's where my passion is about the breath. To come into the present, you breathe into your body. You become present with the breath. You follow the breath. You fill your body with the prana, the life force. And with this life force, with every breath, you notice as you slow down the thoughts in your mind, the subtleties of your senses, what you see, what you hear, what you smell, what you taste, what you can touch and feel. And the more sensitive you are to your own senses, the more heightened your intuition. The more you can course correct, challenge the thoughts that arise. Because if you don't do it, somebody else is going to do it for you. And it's not going to be your choice. It's going to be done by your complicit compliance. Because ignorance, again, is the work of the devil. And the idle mind, the mind that's not really paying attention, it's just kind of going through the motion. And when you're not moving and shaking and getting the energy moving because of stagnation, the devil creeps in and he puts thoughts into your head. Whatever those thoughts are there to influence you, to maintain control over you and the way you behave and act. That's the work of the devil. Just saying. So what I really want to impart is, with everything going on and going back to this media situation, we all know there's at least 3 sides to a story. There's what you're being told, there's the truth, and then your interpretation of what you see. But see, you also have to understand there's controlled opposition, meaning everything you're seeing is presented to you on the stage of life. All the world's a stage. What can you honestly say that you 100% believe in front of your own eyes? If you can tap into your senses, you can tap into your intuition, you can learn to discern the lies from the truths and the truths from the lies, because they will sprinkle in. See, here's the thing. The universal laws, they must reveal to you what is going on. And what happens is they are running the show, the program in your mind, social conditioning, the social engineering. We've been told from the moment we were born everything we think we know. How to behave, where to go, what we want to do, everything is influenced. Even if you went shopping and you said, oh, I don't like that dress. You see that dress enough times, you're going to want to buy that dress. And then you're going to say it was you choosing it, but it really wasn't. You hear something enough, you start to believe it, that it's true. That's why it's so important to disconnect. Because the more we're connected on this thing, the more we're seeing the same storylines playing out, the more we start to buy into and play them out. We become part of the manifestation because we're carrying and holding that vibration, that energy at that level. Do you really want to see this change? Do you really want to see us come back to some semblance of normalcy, of actual life happening, as opposed to restriction and suppression? And, if you truly want to see change, I challenge you this week. You all know what's coming up on the 11th. It's the 20th anniversary. I know where I was at. Do you? I want to remind you, if they tell you something's going to happen and you keep hearing it and you think about it enough, you're going to be part of that. You're going to be part of feeding that. And they're anticipating and expecting so many people to hone in on the fact that, oh my gosh, the 20th anniversary is coming up, and you start commiserating and thinking about the worst case scenarios, and you start thinking about what you were doing on that day, and you bring back, see, every time you remember a triggered old past trauma memory, when that arises for you, you are reliving it in that moment. See, when we're triggered, when we're emotional, this is why we're easy to manipulate. It's because we are in the pain, in the trauma. We are reliving every trauma in our life in that moment in time. They know that. You think they're stupid? They actually are. They're betting that they're more intelligent than we are. But I'm here to tell you we're a lot smarter than that. We need to be smarter. We need to behave and change up this game, because the truth is, in order to win, you have to know how to play. And instead of resisting and fighting it, you need to walk away. Believe it or not, when you don't feed the machine, you don't feed the beast, they're the ones left empty-handed. The only way this will ever end is if we stand up and say no and walk away. Let it go, let it crumble. You can't fix what's already broken, we know that. So here's my challenge to everyone for this week. Because this is going to be powerful if people will come together to do it. And if you're an influencer and you have visibility, because I'm still silenced and shadow banned, I encourage you to also spread this message. And the reason I say this is because if we don't step up to the plate and reclaim our power and our focus, because where attention goes, energy flows. If you're not willing to sit and envision and pray for the best case scenario, to pray that the veil of this spell is lifted off of humanity, to see the truth full on come out as hardcore as it is, for people to see it and to get it. If we don't sit in that space and hold ourselves accountable for feeding the negativity, feeding the drama and the trauma, then we're just going to be a part of the problem. And I know everybody wants to see a solution. You want to see things come to a break, right? We have an opportunity. This is a monumental time. You really want to see this end? It starts with us taking back and reclaiming our power. And that comes with prayer. You know, they got us to think that God didn't exist and that the devil didn't exist. Here we are, we're faced with it. This is a spiritual and a psychological war. In your mind, for your mind. Govern means to rule over. Ment is the mind. To rule over your mind. You know what corona means? It means crown. Your mind. You know, if you really sit and connect the dots, if you have been paying any semblance of attention, then you also notice that there's just as much of the negativity and you think, well, this is happening. And then over here, you've got someone else here saying, you need to do this and you need to do that. What if that's just as bad as the other? Because when you're feeding with resistance or compliance, it is still on the same frequency. It is at the same level, that energy, that vibration. And they know this. This is part of the game. So when they allow, because you ever notice certain people can say things that other people can't and they get shadow banned or their accounts get disabled? Here's what happens. They have to leave a certain element and certain people out there to carry the opposite, controlled opposition. That's why it's called controlled opposition. Explicitly so that you can be held in the holding pattern. If you're entertained, you are so fixated. You're on your devices, you're in social media, you're on the TV, whatever you're doing, wherever your attention goes, that's where your energy's flowing. That's what you're feeding. That's what's growing. We are contributing to the manifestation of what happens next. And that's why I'm saying right now, it is so powerful and such a key time. Did you know that Jesus' birthday is actually September 11th? And that Lucifer's birthday is actually the day we celebrate Christmas? Sit with that for a second. Tell me that's not a mind fuck. Totally. Symbolism will be their downfall. And they mock us. And they laugh at us. Because they sit behind and they know everything they do is ritualistic. Everything they do is to keep you distracted. The more stuff they can throw at us, through poisoning our food and our water and our air, to throwing this crisis over here and that crisis over there, the more your attention is scattered, the more your energy is scattered. The more you're taken off of your path and your purpose. And I want you to understand something. We are all here for a particular role, a purpose. We all have a place in this life. And we were not incarnated to come here and to suffer, people. We got totally hijacked. They've been hijacking our energy the entire time. They harvest our energy. Let me just read you some of what I wrote earlier because this was so powerful. This is what streamed through me, and I will read it to you verbatim. Okay. I want us to take time every single day to envision humanity rising, coming together, and the truth being fully revealed, and to keep our vibrations high so that we're not playing into and feeding this agenda. This is a powerful, important time, people. You're either with us or against us. You got to consider that. If you're paying attention to what they're doing, we've already lost. If we come back to what we need to be doing, which is focusing on the balance, the harmony, the love, what can I do that's going to bring up my vibration? What's going to bring me joy today? Go out and play. Go out in nature. Have some fun. Do something you want to do. Don't get caught up and distracted by all this crap in mainstream. That's what it's all about, harvesting and hijacking your energy. You're either going with it or against it, and both of those are feeding it. That's the bottom line. So we need to be and act smarter. We're being played from both sides. All sides right now, in fact, where we cannot even discern or recognize. Many are so caught up in it, they can't see that the left and the right are both sides of the same bird, that true and false equals the center. See, we live in a world of polarities, this versus that. And this and that, when you're neutral, don't exist. So if you can be neutral in the face of crisis and chaos, you've already won, baby. If you can calm yourself and claim yourself instead of feeding into, and I mean like breathe into your body and become present. Just feel into whatever you're feeling. Don't react. You don't necessarily have to respond either. Sometimes walking away is the most powerful thing you'll ever do. We're being played from all sides right now. It's a psychological and a spiritual war in our minds. That's why I keep saying it's a battle of the mind. They use symbolism. They tell us what they're doing. They're not hiding anything. It's right in front of our faces. It's just that most people want to ignore it. And again, ignorance is not bliss. That's where the devil's playing on you even harder. They mock us and laugh at us because they think they're smarter than we are. If we push against or fight them, we're feeding them our energy and our power. With or without. It's still part of the problem. That's how they manipulate and control us. Because they're playing and preying upon our emotions. This is why they've always done and gotten people to go along, because they played off of their emotions over the course of history, over time, because they know how to do it. And they're not hiding it, because even psychology tells you that this is narcissism, this is a sociopath, this is a psychopath, that this is Hegelian dialectic, that this is Stockholm syndrome, that the victim will eventually start to defend its perpetrator because that's what's familiar. That's Stockholm syndrome. Haven't you noticed that they like to attack the character of people who speak up? It's called gaslighting. They anticipate the person will push back. You know why? They have conditioned us into doing this, to speak up, defend ourselves, because that's a reaction. Again, that's a fight. That's a resistance. Nobody said you had to prove yourself, but from the moment we're born, we are conditioned and told, subtle and directly, that we have to prove ourselves worthy because we were born with original sin, so we already come out of the womb having to figure out how to defend ourselves, how to show that we're worthy, prove ourselves lovable. It's obnoxious, really is. So here we are, we're not taught to back down because that's part of their programming too. It's all about this fight, coming at each other. See, you fighting them feeds them. You fighting them gives them the implicit authority over you. It's implied that if you fight against something, that they have some form of power against you or over you. Whenever you fight against someone else, that shows you care. And that's giving your power away. When you walk away, you leave them empty-handed. They have nothing to stand on, and they need us. They feed on us. We don't need them. We don't feed on them. We could just as easily, with the glass, just drop it. Let it break. Let it shatter. Let it dissolve. They're doing a good job of it on their own. So this is how we've been programmed. We were taught not to back down, or that we should always take a stance against evil. That's playing into it too. The problem is we weren't taught how to take a stance and reclaim our power properly. See, that's part of learning how to play the game. And when you know how to play the game, you've already won. They also know that people get triggered, emotionally charged, and distracted in their own defenses. So they lose sight of their original path and purpose in life. So when you're emotional and someone catches you off guard, you might have had your train of thought, and you've probably had this happen. I know I have in my past. When someone gaslights you, they catch you off guard to the degree where you were just like, I had my train of thought, and all of a sudden they just They Jedi mind tricked you. They completely, like, what the hell just happened here? They twisted my words. They got you so confused. They mesmerized and cast their spells upon you. And when they do that, they know they got you. So when you go into defense, you've already played into it, showing that you're not feeling worthy enough that you even have to defend yourself. See, if you know you're worthy, you don't defend yourself. You stand in your confidence. You stand in your power. And you say, you know what? Not today, Satan. Not today, not ever. Because when Satan is doing his dirty work, he's playing on your emotions. That's what this is all about right now. I highly recommend you really take a stance back when you catch yourself defending yourself in anything. Why is the first question. To who do you feel you need to defend yourself? To who do you need to hand your power over to that is that much more authoritative than you yourself over yourself? That's what's happening here. Anytime you go to defend yourself, you've given yourself away. You've basically dehumanized yourself. And they anticipate that, expect it, and play and prey upon that. So that's how they start out getting us. They feed off that energy of not worthy. So when you don't feel worthy, you defend yourself. When you feel worthy, you turn around and you go, excuse me, I don't have to defend myself to you. You don't have any power over me. You're not the authority over me. Something to sit with. And that's a huge wound in humanity right now. It has been for many years. Like, this is the spell. This is the spell of worthiness. Nobody feels worthy enough to just be, to just live, to just do. They all feel like, well, we need to fix things. We need to fix the system. We need to fight it. We need to this. We need to that. I'm sorry. If it's broken, just stop trying to fix it. That's fighting it. That's feeding it. It's showing that you actually think that has some weight, some substance, some relevance in your life, and it doesn't. It's just part of that old addiction to the system. And that's where we're at right now, is everybody is addicted to a system that's broken. So unless we create the new system and show people what is possible, we will never switch. We will never change. We will just be stuck enslaved to the system that it's been broken for a very long time. And it was designed to keep us in these states of disharmony, imbalance, to be in fight, flight, freeze, or fawn, because that is how they exist. That is the energy they harvest. The adrenaline rush feeds the blood, creates the adrenaline. So let me continue. Think about this. Be really conscious and conscientious of your thoughts. And check yourself and ask yourself why you do what you do. What is the fear behind it if you're doing it? Because you're either always acting out of fear or out of love. And right now we need to be in the love space. We need to get out of the fear space. You need to be fearless. This is time for the lions, people. It's time to roar. Hey, I'm a Leo, I'm just saying. So, think about it. You have a path, a purpose, and a role to play in this life. Stop playing small, stand up and stand tall. But if you're distracted and you're caught off guard, your energy gets harvested, depleted, and focused on the wrong things, the wrong areas. That's how they hijack your energy. Standing up is righteous, but not always necessary. And this is seeking to right a wrong. So when we're defending ourselves, we're also seeking to right a wrong. That in itself is seeking validation, vindication, and it's assuming that you have to prove yourself right. So that's the ego right there, and that's a losing battle in that respect. This isn't about right or wrong. You need to choose the side of the happiness, the joy, what brings you life, what brings life to this life. Okay? To fight is to feed them and make them more significant or important than you are. And then they really aren't. They're not important. The powers that be are enforcing. That's abuse of power. That's not power. We have power within us. Power versus Force by David R. Hawkins. I've got it over on my bookshelf. The hidden determinants of human behavior. The scales of consciousness. Power is something we all have within us. Force is the speeding up in appearance of having power. It's fake, and it fails every single time. So we need to not make them more significant or important than they already are. They aren't. They're elected people. They're people that, in some cases, they weren't even elected. And they're abusing a power that was never entrusted to them to begin with. They're just doing what they want to do. And that's clearly evident. So it's not always about standing down either in this case. Sometimes we have to remain neutral or walk away because that's how you win and they lose. When you fight, you give them significance and importance. You actually imply by fighting against them that they have power over you when they do not. When you walk away, they're the ones that are left empty-handed. And this is with any relationship that's toxic or abusive. This is where we're at, people. If it's not in your personal life, it's in the collective. This is the curse we're trying to lift off of humanity, and it's time to break the spell. We need to pray. We need to focus our energy in the direction we want to experience this life. What do we want to create? Because if we're focused on what we don't want, we're creating that. So right now, the way that they're feeding off of us, not us off of them, by the way. This is the oldest lie and deceptive influence they have wielded for the longest in all of humanity through their spell casting. Can you imagine if we all just took a stance and said no? How wonderful and beautiful that would be, and how much that would shift the energy significantly. See, stopping the fight against these corrupt, broken systems, stopping the playing into them, literally, you have to stop paying them with your attention, with your time, your energy, as well as money in the form of blood, sweat, and tears, because that's pretty much what we have been giving them, is our entire body. I mean, really, what are we doing? We own the roads. We are the ones who work on every single thing. We're the ones who create the utilities. The average person. That's why I say we're not going into the dark ages. If the grid was knocked out, technically, we got intuitive, intelligent, technologically inventive creatives all around the world. We got this. As long as we come together, we got this. And to think that a small minority of the population has control over all of us? Come on. You waking up yet? Seriously, can we call it out already? Anyway, they will crash and dissolve, and they know this. They know they've already lost. But they're so desperate. They're throwing everything at us all at once. See, we're getting hit and repeating history from various times in history. We're not just getting one part of history thrown at us. We're getting it all. The entire gamut. They're doing it all in this time right here, right now. Because I figure if the more we can be distracted and like, oh my gosh, I don't know which way to look, you know, the Wizard of Oz, pay no attention to the man behind the curtain, the easier it is to pull the rug right out from underneath you because you weren't paying attention to what it is you needed to be doing. And if you don't see what they're doing because you're looking over there, you know, it's one thing to be in awareness. It's another to be so fixated, you're just feeding it. And that's the thing about the news. When you see a snippet of news, it's sensationalized. It's like, it's hyper focus. That's one small snippet. This is a big, grandiose world. Are you kidding me? A whole universe. And you're going to fixate on that one little incident that you saw scroll across your feed or on television? Is it even real? A lot of people don't know about the fact that, you know, Hollywood, all the world's a stage. They're all actors, people. I'm just saying. They're not even hiding their agenda. It's right in front of your face. They're so addicted to their abusive power. They're not hiding anything. It's all in your face. And yes, there are people who are still under the spell, but that's because they're stuck in their unresolved trauma. So I know so many people want to wake people up. They want to shake them up. They want to like, come on, how do I get them to understand? Stop. You're wasting your time and your energy, and here's why. When the student is ready, the teacher will appear. Stop trying to be the teacher for somebody who's not even prepared or even in a student's mindset. If they don't have the willingness to hear you, you're just exhausting yourself. And that's part of the agenda too. You don't think that there are people strategically placed in your life to distract you because you're so loyal, because that's all part of the conditioning too, is that we keep you loyal. We keep you loyal to people. Think of others, don't think of yourself. For the common good. If you're thinking of everybody else but yourself, then again, you're giving your power away. You can say, you're all self-righteous and virtue signal and all that stuff, but if you aren't paying attention to what's going on up in here, you're being manipulated. If you're giving it to someone else, you're trying to, I want them to come with me. Not everybody's meant to go with us, I'm sorry. It's just a fact of life. Yeah, I've been through this, so yes, I've had the melancholy and it really sucks. I've had several people drop out of my life this past year because they showed me their true colors, that they are in survival mode, not thriving mode. See, I have no drama in my life. My life is rather simple. I am who I am. I don't have anything to hide. I know what I know. I am very much open-minded. I am flexible. I love a good open dialogue. I like when my friends challenge me, and I like to challenge others. But only if it's receptive. And if it isn't receptive, that shit's got to go, people. Why fight a losing battle? Why try to impose your will upon another when it's not their way to go? They have a different path in this moment. Maybe they will catch up, but they'll only catch up if you back off first. See, if you try to push or force your will upon another person, they are more likely to run in the other direction, and you will set them back from their evolution, more so. Because what happens with your ego, somebody tries to tell you what to do, what do? Don't you tell me what to do. You come back at them with the resistance, don't you? You're fighting with them too. So what may seem like a harmless, I'm trying to help you, I'm trying to fix you, it's still no different than harm. It is harm because you're trying to change someone who's not ready to be changed. Only they can do that for themselves. And I guarantee you didn't do it overnight and somebody didn't do it for you. So take that into consideration and take that compassion you should have for yourself and place it on the other person too. Because when you find compassion, see, when you do the shadow work, you work on your own shit and you own all aspects of yourself. You own all that poo, as mucky and gucky and icky and shitty it may be sometimes, like, oh my God, that's me too. When you own your shit, nobody can hold that shit against you. So when you spot it, you got it. You might as well own it. Because the sooner you claim it, the sooner you grow and evolve. And so the same thing with other people. When you recognize yourself in that person, like, oh my God, I remember what I was like, and I wish somebody had said something to you. But that's not you. That's not you, and not everybody learns the same way. True, tough love is also saying, you know what? This isn't my battle. I will walk away. Once again, that's another example of when it's time to walk away as opposed to resisting and trying to force someone to wake up to you. Some other things to consider. Remember, other people are still in their traumas. That's what's been playing out this past year. A lot of adults running around with their unmet childhood needs, flinging their shit at each other. A lot of that's been going on. People stuck in the complaining mode, in victimhood mentality is what that is, instead of claiming their power and focusing on the solutions. See, when you're in your trauma drama and you're reliving all that, it's really hard to see past your own shit. I know, I've been there. I still do it too, and I have my moments. We all do. We're all human. Please, have compassion for one another. Be kind on yourself. Be kind on me. Be kind. I'll be kind on you. Because the truth of the matter is, without humans in unity, we don't have humanity. What's the point? We're here to uplift one another, to support one another. And if we can't honor everybody where they're at, how are we ever going to evolve? I believe in us, though. So no matter what I just said, I'm really just trying to get you to see the different perspectives, because it's really important. We're all human and we're doing the best we can. See, when you know better, you can do better. You have to make mistakes to find out that you didn't know any better. You can't know what you don't know until you know it. And so yes, a mistake happens because of choices. And it's not a mistake, it's just a different choice. And so then you adjust, you course correct, and you make a new choice the next time. We're all able to fix ourselves, to help ourselves, to heal ourselves. But we've been disempowered for way too long. And it's time for us to step up into that power. Now, more than ever. It's now or never. That's the bottom line right now. So when someone's in their drama and their trauma, just honor them where they're at. Don't try to force or to try to get them to see anything. Let them be. You're not going to get them to speed it up any faster. If the more compassion you hold for that person, the more you might energetically actually uplift them. Holding sacred space for another person to sit in their shit and you not try to fix it, that's power. That's a leader. And I'm telling you right now, we all need more leaders right now. We don't need more followers. We need the people who came here to lead to step up. That's why I said we all need to be praying and holding a vision of humanity and unity. Humans in unity, coming together, breaking the curse, breaking the spell, lifting the veil off of us, revealing all the truths, no matter how painful they will be at first for many. Many of us have already known this for a very long time. That's why we came, right? We've been practicing this for a long time, right? So one of the traumas that has been playing out this past year has been, when you see that one person is still waiting, holding out for the one person in their childhood that never followed through, or that they didn't follow through on what they said they were going to do. They overpromised and they never delivered. And they're still waiting for them to fulfill those broken promises, to still show up when they showed that they weren't going to do it. We're seeing that play out in the collective. We're seeing that play out on the whole world stage. People promising and blatantly lying. They're all lies. The sooner you own that and accept that, stop trying to make them do right. That's not for us. That's not they're not part of us. They never were. And the sad thing is, they've been trying to convince us that they're the elites. We're the royal bloodline, people. That's the biggest deception right there. We are the Christ line, the Christ consciousness. It's time to step into that and to act like it. Christ consciousness is knowing that we're here for one another. No matter whether we agree or disagree, it isn't us against us. It's time to be us with us. That's what's going to save the world. Right there. That's the only thing that's going to save the world. Is us together, joining. None of this, it's nothing we can do. It's always been like that. Bullshit. I call that out on whoever may try to come up with excuses. That's victimhood mentality. I won't play that game. I'll walk away. FOMO literally makes you miss out on your own life. So many people are really attached and addicted to their technology to the point where they don't realize, I have to look and see what's the latest information. When you're trying to feed that, the fear of missing out, you're missing out on your own life. You're the one who's missing out the most. That's what's happening right now, is we've been so addicted to the drama, to the doom and gloom, that we're missing out on all this. Don't you want to have a joyful life? Go dancing, play, cartwheels, climbing trees. At least that's always been me. The need to know doesn't always help you grow. It's just another distraction from doing the inner work on ourselves. That's all that is. Whenever we're putting our attention outside of ourselves, we're not going within, we're going without. Simple play with words, but that's how it all works. When you choose your words wisely, you are all the wiser. when you go along with all those old words, the ones they used to cast the spell, you just reinforce it. I grew up with a mother when I was younger. My mother was a little bit strict. She was a triple Sag. With me and my sisters, it was always about the words we chose. And I'll never forget, she wrote down on a piece of paper, on a yellow sticky, she said, "Don't look where you don't want to go." And she crossed out the word "don't" on both cases. And it said, "Look where you want to go." Isn't that crazy? And that's how we got hijacked with the whole law of attraction, how we manifest. The universe does not hear the word "don't." So when you don't want something to happen, all it's hearing is what you want it to happen. And that's the crazy thing. So we're doing that to ourselves. We are choosing our own suffering. We are creating our own stories, and we are living them out. We are the master manifestors of this life. Let's get to work, people. Don't you want free energy? Don't you want flying cars? Like whatever it is meant to be, we can have it when we let go of this lie. We've been lied to about history. Everything that has been taught to us, told to us, has been to manipulate us. And it reminds me of how the Bible, how many people I hear this. Now think about this, the largest population of people in the world, Christians, right? If all the Christians know the stories of the Bible and they know the prophecies, well, that makes it easier to manifest the prophecies. It's kind of like, which came first, the chicken or the egg? Isn't that a great question? So when someone would start quoting scriptures to me, I'd be a little cringy, and I was raised Catholic, don't get me wrong. Think about that, though. If you know the story, is it that you know the story or that you create the story because you were taught the story? Pretty deep, huh? Own that shit, will ya? I don't remember, and I'm actually grateful that I don't remember all the prophecies. I kind of remember, I know I read them because I went to Catholic schools up until 4th grade and still went to the church, but when you really look at it, how much of it's real? How much of it was orchestrated? So when we've conquered nations, when nations have gone into other countries, what are the first things they turn around and take ownership of? They take all of the sacred scriptures and they replace them with their own. Even Jesus, which I recently heard a story which I'd heard before and it reminded me, the image of Jesus, I have one actually. The image of Jesus, I have 2 of the same one in my house. And it kind of gives me chills because so many people hear about the black Jesus or the dark Jesus. Because you have to remember, if you do look at history, he would have been of darker skin. Although I personally don't believe in this color of skin and all this other stuff. It's just part of this matrix, is part of this reality that we created and we decided to agree upon. But the images that we commonly recognize as images of Jesus are actually pictures of Orsini. How crazy is that? That the artist fell in love with the son of the Orsini, that he drew him, and the Catholic Church decided that would be the image of Jesus that they would promote. Another thing, the day of Sabbath. Does anybody know the actual true day of Sabbath? The day to worship God? It's not Sunday. We've been taught rituals that aren't even the rituals that support what we think we're supporting. Supposedly, Jesus was born on September 11th. And supposedly, Christmas is actually Lucifer's birth. So, if we have been so blinded, so mesmerized and caught under the spell that we are celebrating who we think is Jesus is actually Lucifer, the devil, on Christmas Day is really not his birthday, and that the irony of this upcoming 11th is even more fantastic. So that's how they mock us, isn't it? That Satanists would turn around and actually create a ritual, a remembrance around, and make a negative out of a positive. You see how some of this might actually be a little crazy, but nonetheless true and relevant? So we're not worshiping on the right days. We're assuming Jesus is born one day, but it turns out that's not even the right day. I've always wondered about that anyway. It never made sense. Especially with the 9 months of virgin birth, labor, which, whatever. They're all stories. They're all to train us, all to captivate, enslave us. That our birth certificates belong to the Vatican, and that bankers have purchased us on the stock market, invested in us, and that technically we shouldn't be paying for anything because it should be considered prepaid. But see, they're double dipping. They're profiting off of us, not just from our birth, but from our lives. How crazy is that? So much more to that. If you want to go down that rabbit hole, we'll do that another time. They need us to be distracted from doing the inner work, because then if we're constantly in fear and in these heightened emotions, that gives them power. Again, I'm going to say it. They feed off of us. We don't feed off of them. We don't need them. They need us. That's why I say sometimes walking away is the best thing to do. If we can stand up and to rise without anything but non-compliance. Choose your words carefully. I don't like this word disobedience, because that implies that somebody has power over you. And as I said earlier, anytime you feel the need to defend yourself, you're essentially saying that somebody else is more important, that you have to prove yourself to that person. If you're confident in yourself and you claim your power, if anything, you question the person and say, what are you talking about? I don't need to defend myself to you. I have nothing to prove to you. I am a sovereign being created in God's perfect image. And you? So are you too. I love you. Goodbye. I'm not playing. Have fun. And then walk away. All of us can do it. And the more we have in numbers, the better off we are. No matter what, we're not alone in this. And I want people to remember, don't think you're fighting the fight alone. If it's any time you feel alone, reach out to somebody else. There's plenty of us here. Don't try to do it on your own. That's not why we're here. Humanity is humans in unity. Remember that. It's how we're going to win this game. So notice if you're addicted to the doom and the gloom, the FOMO, the fear of missing out, because you're missing out on your own life as a result of it. And because of the fact that that's all we know, this is toxic relationship we're in, it's like all we know is the worst case scenario. So we're always looking for the doom and the gloom instead of looking for the happiness and the joy. So we need to be focusing more on the happiness and joy. And that's just like a courage muscle. We got to keep on exercising it. We got to get back in our hearts. We got to get out of our heads. We got to breathe in our bodies. It's a mind-body-soul connection. The Spirit of God, every time you take a deep breath, you're breathing in God, that source. And when they got you to stop breathing in, that was the first sign that was the work of the devil. Because they cut off your connection to source. Your connection to God is through the Spirit, through the breath, life force, your prana. The biggest message I could tell you is you incarnated into this physical body. Get present in your body. Stop trying to escape it. Stop with the addiction. Stop trying to go, numb out over there. The sooner you're willing to feel what you need to feel, whatever's coming up and arising in you, the sooner that energy dissipates, the sooner that energy goes. See, energy is meant to stay in motion. Emotions are energy in motion. Don't hold on to it. Don't let it get stuck. Don't stagnate. That's what resistance is. It's when you get all this dis-ease in your body because you can't let go. You can't flow. You got to let the energy move. If there's emotions, feel it fully, and then you heal it fully. Say it. Heal it to feel it. Feel it to heal it. And the only way it's going to move is if you're willing to lean into it. Be curious. Confront it. Question it. Ask what the message is there for you. Because there's always a message. There's purpose in your pain. Your pain is your greatest teacher. I can't say that one enough. Boy, has my pain taught me some seriously valuable lessons, and I am grateful for it. That is where the wisdom comes from. And you can have all the information. You can amass all the books and all the knowledge and take all the courses and all the workshops. But until you integrate that shit into your life and you're actually living it, it doesn't become anything but information, data. No, wisdom is the integration and the knowledge together. You feel it, you know it, it's a part of you. Wisdom isn't just, I can prove something because I have a piece of paper or I did something. Look at me, I'm significant. No, wisdom is just, it's your essence. It's the integration of everything you know on all levels. It's coming in through your senses. And remember that too. Your 5 senses are how you are programmed and wired. Everything you take in, visually, what you hear, what you taste, what you touch, what you smell. Because remember, music, it invokes emotions, right? You hear a song, it reminds you of a time. How do you think they get you? They play certain types of music, certain vibration. They zap you with images that are also on a frequency that maybe you don't hear it, but again, it's coming in through your eyes. Your 5 senses. That's how they program you. And if you're not tuned in and tapped into your own 5 senses and you're tapped in fully and present in your body, that's how they get you. I don't know, I've just been living this all my life here. This is what I do. This is who I am. And this is what God brought me to do and to be present for everyone else as well. Some of us are here to help the healers heal. It's time to break the spell, people. It starts with self. Everything starts with self. The sooner you tap into yourself and get to know yourself more deeply, the sooner we break the spell. Make it a conscious effort every single day this week. I don't care how long you take, but whenever you catch yourself in a negative setting or you don't feel good, change that up. If you feel something, lean into it. Really own it. Where do I feel it in my body? What does it feel like? What emotions are coming up? Give it a name. What is the memory associated? What is the time frame? Whatever it is, lean into it. And then as soon as you're ready to let go and to let it flow, get up and move your body. Because, see, that's the thing. When you're sitting around doing nothing, that's where the devil gets in and creeps into your head. The sooner you move your body, the sooner that stuff can't penetrate you. Because you got to move it or you lose it. And the body's how you work out the mind. Yeah. This is my passion. And this is what was meant to come through tonight. So, I was getting ready for bed. I washed my face. This is my clean face and my lioness hair. And I love you all. And I'm just grateful for those of you who tuned in tonight. As soon as I save this, I want you to share it far and wide. It's very important that we get this message out. If you do videos, I can't stress enough. It's very important that we pray. Tune in to the collective. And even if you feel the negative energies, I want you to start visualizing. I don't care if you got to sing a great song, put on your favorite music and dance. Do something that brings up your energy. Do something that brings you joy. What makes you happy? Sing, dance, jumping jacks, something. Do something for you, because that's what they don't want you to do. The people who are so caught up in the negative don't even realize that they fed the machine. We need to be doing what brings us joy more now. All right. Yep. This is an abusive relationship. It's time to break the shackles. It's time to break the spell. Lift the veil off of humanity. This is my intention, and I want everybody to join together. This is if I don't care if you ever see me again. If I made an impact tonight, please share this message. This isn't even for me. This plea is not for me. This is for humanity, and I honestly believe in us. I have more faith in humanity than most people I talk to who are like, I don't know. And I'm sitting here going, I do. I feel it in my heart. I didn't come to live in this life and to be enslaved to a system. And I don't think everybody else out there feels like they want that to happen either. No matter what you believe, I believe in you. I love you all so very much. There's a lot of information. Come back and watch it again. I know I really dropped some bombs. The biggest one is that we need to stay and remain neutral. Don't feed the machine. Not with fighting, not with complying. Resistance is what persists. The more you fight them, you feed them. And they feed and hijack our energy that way. It's a reality. It's the truth. And to win this game, we need to walk away. Stand up and walk away. And do it with a smile. That's empowering. We have the power. Unity, baby. I love you so much. Have an amazing, blessed night. Sweet dreams.